Can you hear me?
Good morning, everybody.
Hey there.
Good morning.
So Steve, are you going to be around today? Can
Hey, Don, how you healing?
anybody hear me?
Yeah, doing all right. Got rid of the walker a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, good.
So my walking isn't pretty right now, but
Well, you're walking though.
at least short distances. I actually made it into Costco for the first time the other day for a short trip.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I needed Tylenol and red wine after that.
Well, glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That fixes everything, Don.
Can anybody hear
Yeah.
me now? Yeah. Okay.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You can hear me now. I can never tell
I can hear you, Bob.
if it's
Hear you,
working.
Bob.
Okay, thank you. It's a never-ending saga. So Steve, yes, Steve can't hear me. Oh, Steve, are you gonna?
We can't hear Steve.
I can't hear you. Are you going to be around today?
Let me unplug my speakers. Does that work now?
Now we got you.
Yeah. Okay. So my speakers and mic don't work together. Yeah, I'll be around, Bob.
Maybe I can stop by and pick up that saw.
Sure. Yeah.
Great. Okay, I'll get right after the meeting and see what your schedule's like. Who else we got here? Welcome, Bruce. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Orangevale.
Thank you.
Glad to have you with us this morning.
Been a while since I've given a speech here.
And according to Russ, what you're speaking about today is a secret. So we're
I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay. Okay. Let's see who else we got. We're getting there. What time is it?
I think it's time.
Who else?
Good morning, everyone. Bob,
Like, yep.
could you add me to your list of announcements? Is that possible, Bob?
Could I? You're kind of froze on me. Did you understand?
I was wondering if I could have 2 minutes on the agenda for some announcements.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Who's this? Almost ready to start.
Hi, Ann. Hi, Patty. Good to see ya.
I miss you.
I miss you.
Okay. Boy. All right, I'm almost ready.
Got a
Just
good
seeing,
group.
like, yeah. 25, that's good. Filling up my screen here. 7. Okay, well, I think we've got it's several minutes after, so it's time to get started. So hang on, I gotta stand back here. There. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Orangevale, California, USA, where every day is good for the world. I'd like to begin with an invocation. Audrey.
Oh, I'm first. Okay. Father God, thank you for this day and the much needed rain. Please heal those who are sick, comfort those who are suffering, and protect those in harm's way. As Rotarians, we ask that you will show us where there is need and guide us in our response. Please inspire us to be loving and deliver love and grace to those we come in contact with. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So, in 1 second, I want to see if anybody else show up here. Okay. Russ, would you like to introduce our
Yes, joining us from
one guest so far?
the Rotary Club of Sacramento, I believe, is real estate agent and a friend, Bruce Hester.
Retired now.
Retired now?
Welcome, Bruce.
Smart man.
Great. Okay, I think that's all we've got. Now let's see if I'm having to pull back and forth here to see if that's anybody else. Looks like that's okay. Now, as far as so we have a few announcements. One, the Constitutional Laws Committee has been working diligently to update the. We're actually doing really well. It's just about done. What we're going to do is finish it up probably a couple of days, and we'll bring it to the board. We have a board meeting on the 6th. Anyway, somewhere around there. I forget exactly. The 5th. Okay. And no, that's the next meeting. It doesn't matter. In a couple of weeks into February, we're going to have a board meeting, and we'll release it. Then the next meeting we will have it, bring it to the full club and vote to accept the changes that we've made. The changes aren't great, but we've really reorganized those to coincide with each other, and they're just really up to do quite a little bit of changes to just sort of reorganize it. So we'll go over that in a few weeks. We did receive, there's mail call. We did receive, now I can find it, a thank you note from Shelter Box for the job we bought a few weeks ago. Thank you from
Bill Tobin.
I'll just, there it is. Thank you, Lord. I'm sorry. Anyway, thank you for Orangevale Rotary. Your contribution to support is truly your generosity towards the displaced and disaster or conflict is inspiring. Regards, Bill Tobin. So we got that. Next week, it's that fifth Friday thing. So we will not have a meeting next Friday. We are going to be working at the food bank next Friday. So I'll be sending out an email next Tuesday or so asking for your signups for that. And then keep in mind that we will also be doing the next week, the first week of the month, which is normally our week. We're doing the last week next Friday. I did work the first week because it was New Year's. So anyway, keep that in mind in your calendars. And what would you like to have to say?
Yeah. I wanted to share that the Interact Club today is launching the next phase of their greeting card project for Blossom Vale residents. We're going to be making Valentines. It is the season. And then regarding the virtual exchange program that we're working on throughout the district and the world, I'm going to participate at 10 this morning in an international webinar about it. And then this Saturday at Orangevale Park, I'm going to be meeting for the first time in person, distanced of course, the young man that we've selected to be our exchange student. He'll be exchanging with a boy from Brazil. And at the Interact meeting on Wednesday, I interviewed him, and he's already starting to study Portuguese and learn all about Brazil. So I'm excited that we have a really great young man that we're sponsoring. And I'm hoping I can get a summary out to everyone today about what it would be like to be a counselor for this young man. And I'm hoping to find a counselor to volunteer. And I'm sure if you do, it will be an enriching experience. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sam. You're kind of breaking up for me. I don't know if you work for other people.
Same here, you're
Um,
breaking up.
You're breaking up really bad.
It's all about you.
Russ, or for Russ?
This is not an announcement, it's a question for Sue
So,
regarding our
Russ is up.
speaker from a couple of weeks ago. What happened at the Board of Supervisors meeting on the garbage rate increase? Sue?
You were breaking up. I
There was a,
couldn't hear the question.
he was asking about the garbage rate increase, and it was, there was a lot of discussion back and forth, and at the end of the day, we agreed to raise it by $5 increments twice. And even though the Prop 218 process will cost probably another $60,000, the will of the board was that it was just too much during this time. And so what we did is we did raise the rates. It's not going to be enough. It was a unanimous vote. It will raise them, I think, by $5 increments twice. And then we'll have to come back and revisit it. We will not have enough money to build the facility that we need for the organic waste and to manage buying the extra trucks to be compliant with the state unfunded mandate on organic waste processing. And we are hopeful that the state will perceive that the move that we made was a good will gesture to try to be compliant, and that they'll give us a break and not fine us for not being compliant. But we will have to come back, and I would expect there's going to be increasing rates over time with it, because there will be added costs.
Okay, thanks. Russ, something?
Hey, Bob, you are breaking up very badly. I think it's your connection or your internet. You may need to turn your video off so it doesn't
Yeah.
break up.
Yeah, I was just about to try that. Usually when I try it doesn't make much difference. I'll try. So I'll go off. Okay, Don, Russell.
Okay, here's your joke for the day. Why did the invisible man turn down the job offer? Why did the invisible man turn down the job offer? I don't know. How about Lori?
Because he'd rather be heard than seen.
He couldn't see himself doing it. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Okay, that's the best you got. You done? Okay. Yeah, boy, we really, you know, when we get to the point where we can actually have restaurants partly opened again and stuff, maybe Don will have something for us to do. So, okay, are there any other announcements that I didn't know about?
Hey, Bob,
Well, I haven't gotten to you yet, Bill. I'm sorry, yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
okay, if I could get just a couple, I got visited by Ray Ward this weekend because they were not able to have the district awards, you know, because of all this virus thing. So I just wanted to mention the ones that our club did get real quickly here. And I don't know if you can actually see, that's a banner. That's the E-Ray, $100 per capita, 100% member participation. We also got the Governor's Citation Award. We got a Survival Award for surviving these trying times. And I'll get to some other ones here. We got the Best Breakfast Award, so we'll have to share that with La Placida. We also, but I can't tell you what the quantities are here, and let me just get to it quick. We're only one of 1,500 clubs worldwide to achieve top 3 highest per capita and annual giving honors for their district. Only one of 3,400 clubs worldwide to hit E-Ray, and one of only 4,000 to do 100% foundation giving. Now also, real quick, we got a district gold award for international service. And this was, so this would be congratulations to those chairs. We got a gold award for youth service. We got a gold award for vocational. Rob, you did good with your $75 budget. We got a gold award for marketing, and we got one for foundation. So congratulations to the chairs of those for 2019 and 20. And that's all I got.
Very good.
Great. Yay us. We did a good job. Okay, now Bill, you're on.
Well, if I could piggyback on Steve's comments, the E-Ray Award, Audrey worked so hard to make sure that we got that. We still have some people who have not made a donation this year to the Rotary Foundation. This year runs from July 1 to June 30th. So we're coming down to the closing months here. If you are one of those people or you have a question about whether you are or are not, please see me directly and I'll give you an update on your account. I'm trying to promote the Rotary Direct as the means of people donating. Rotary Direct, there's a form that you fill out and you say, charge my credit card $10 a month or $250 a quarter or whatever it is that you want. The minimum charge is $10. So if you haven't signed up for Rotary Direct, I ask that you please consider that. It's an easy way to give. I did send out a form via email to everyone earlier, but if you need the form to sign up, please let me know. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, we do have a vocational speaker this morning. I hope you knew
Present.
that.
I knew that.
Morris, go ahead.
Okay. It occurred to me that it's been a little while since I've done this where I just talked about myself as opposed to trying to teach about something. And we have several new members, so I'd do a background on myself. I'm the oldest of 5 children. We grew up in Seattle, so I've always considered that where I'm from, even though I've lived here in Sacramento for a very long time now. Went to college at Washington State, and that was during the Vietnam War and draft time, so I enrolled in Air Force ROTC while I was there. And when my lottery number was pulled, it was high enough that I knew I wouldn't be drafted, but I decided I wanted to go ahead and get a commission and go on active duty, so I did that. My senior year, I got interested in getting into the flying business, so I applied for navigator school and got accepted in there. So In 1974, I came here to Sacramento to go to Navigator School at Mather and then Navigator Bombardier training. And this is what I would consider then the first phase of my adult life. And after all that training, I got assigned over to the other side of the base in the B-52, first as a navigator and then later on as a radar navigator or the bombardier. I was fortunate that at that time there were no shooting wars going on, but the Cold War was hot and heavy, and the career field I was in, we were the point of the spear. So when we weren't flying training missions, we were spending a lot of time on alert duty, ready to launch on a moment's notice if there was possibility of an attack. When I grew tired of that, I got out and enrolled at law school in McGeorge and started phase 2 of my adult life. Spent 3 years there at McGeorge. About halfway through, after an arduous winter quarter final, a classmate friend of mine suggested we meet over at the student pub and kind of forget the exam. And so I did that, and she brought along another classmate friend of hers who turned out to be Cindy. So obviously we hit it off right away. And when people ask, I tell them I met my wife in a bar. From there, we both graduated from law school and got jobs in small law firms. I was working in a firm where I was business transaction, business litigation. And in my time doing that, I learned a couple of very important things. I learned how business deals can go bad, or what are the things that create problems with them. And also learned that I hated doing business litigation. So in 1991, when I was kind of maximum stressed out from doing that, I left that firm and started what I'd call now phase 3 of my life, being self-employed. I initially set up an office at home and worked doing business transactional work and estate planning. Kind of in that same time frame, Cindy, the bankruptcy attorney she was working for, had health issues, and she ended up taking her clients and setting up an office downtown. In 2001, we decided to get an office space out in Fair Oaks and work together, and we've been there ever since. And in the last 10, 15 years, my practice kind of transitioned to primarily estate planning, but been doing that and enjoying it. And then, we were content doing what we were doing, and never any real thought of raising a family, just doing our thing. And then in 2005, we found both ourselves independently being called to the needs of children in foster care who needed permanent families. And when we shared our thoughts with each other and realized we're both thinking the same thing, we dove headfirst into foster adoption and did all the things we needed to do to get qualified to be foster parents. And then in summer 2007, we had 2 girls, then aged 9 and 5, placed with us. And it took 2.5 years of the court process working its way through, but we're in November of 2009, we were able to adopt them and became a forever family. My oldest, Caitlin, is 23 today. My youngest daughter, Abby, will be 19 in March, so the time goes by quickly. And this is what I would call phase 4 then of my life. And back in July, Caitlin gave birth to a son. So I'm, sorry, my timer's became a grandfather. So in the space of 13 years, I went from being a first-time father to a first-time grandfather, or being a grandfather, and been enjoying that. It hasn't been revealed to me yet what phase 5 of my life is, but as soon as I know that, I will let you all know. And with that, I'll turn it back to Bob.
Nice.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Don, wasn't there a something that you left out about the
Well done. Thank you, Don.
textbook?
Now, okay. Thank you, Don. That was great. I just am seeing that they're in the chat. Tommy has sent us a little information. Tommy, you want to tell everybody about it?
Sure, I can do that. So on February 23rd, 11 a.m. via Zoom, Rotary International President Holger Knock will be the guest speaker at the Sacramento Rotary Club meeting. This will be a district event and additional information will be coming out. But what COVID and Zoom has really kind of done for us is allowed us to look further and farther to get speakers. And I've been working with Kevin Smith-Fagan, the Sacramento president, and Brent Hasty on putting that together for the club. So again, this is a district event, and Holger will be speaking to the club 11 a.m. February 23rd. That's it.
Thanks. Yeah, we had a chance to meet him at Pets. I mean, I did, and the other district, our district's presidents. Very nice guy, and I'm sure it'll be an interesting to hear him speak. He's seriously into RYE. So it's time for, now this is the last month or the last meeting for our prospectors. We'll be needing to find ourselves a new one for next month. So go ahead, prospectors. Audrey, Sue, take it away.
Oh, that's right. Sue, if you have anything that you were going to use next week, I forgot we don't meet, so you can throw it in. So first of all, I would like to know if Jonathan, David, or Don Russell would like to pay us not to sing happy birthday to them. All right.
I love hearing you guys' voices, so I'm not going to pay Audrey.
All right. Okay.
Can I pay?
Yes, you can pay. Anybody before we sing. All right, then let's sing. Take your mutes off and let's sing happy birthday to our Rotarians. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Everybody.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Our favorite Rotarian.
Many more.
Oh, I forgot that was recorded. That could be dangerous. All right, we're going to talk about a very exciting topic today, insurance. So let's see, who should I pick on first? Jonathan.
I'll pay lots of money to not hear about it.
I better not pick on Jonathan. He might know the answer to this. Let me try Joni. True or false, Joni, for $2, frozen water pipes are a risk in both cold and warmer climates?
True.
Say it again.
True.
Yes, you are right. So you're off the hook there. Let's see. I'll try this one on Jonathan. Jonathan, in 2020, State Farm paid more than how many $1 million for homeowner claims related to frozen pipes across the United States?
Over 800 million.
No, that would be $2. Let's see, Phyllis. Take a guess. How many million, how many million for homeowner claims for frozen pipes in 2020?
I'll say 10.
No, that's $2. Tommy?
How many millions of dollars were paid in claims?
For frozen water pipes across the United States.
$500 million.
No, 50 million. So let's see, Rob, can you give us one of the 4 tips that State Farm recommends you do to prevent a broken water pipe from leaking all over your house?
Let one of the outside faucets drip a little bit.
Oh, very good. All right. Let's see, Don Russell. True or false, an 1/8 inch crack can spew up to 100 gallons per day.
True.
That is false. It's actually 250 gallons per day. So that would be
You said over. I agreed with you.
Oh, and that will be another $1 if you argue with the prospector. Let's see, Steve, who was the #1 state for frozen water pipe losses in 2020?
North Dakota.
No. Lori, that's $2, Steve. Lori, who do you think the top state was for water damage claims?
Alabama.
Negative, that's $2. Russ.
Louisiana.
Negative. $2 for you. Mary.
I'm going to say Arkansas.
No. Nope. It is Illinois, which is the home spot of State Farm, ironically. Who wants to guess? How about Dennis Sarkeesian? Who do you think the #2 state was?
#2 state would be Indiana.
No, that's $2. Jim Button.
New Jersey.
Negative, that's $2. Dave Shepard.
New York.
Oh, nice. You are right. #2 is New York. #3 is Michigan. These are the places you don't want to go to. 4 was Colorado and 5 was Minnesota. Let's see. Let's go back. I think we need to talk to Jonathan about his 40th birthday. He thought we would forget. So Jonathan, what is your 40th birthday worth? I heard your wife was very good to you.
Yes, she was.
So what's that worth to you?
It is worth it's worth $40. How about that?
That's awesome. We'll take it. And Dave Shepard already paid for his. Mr. Russell, you snuck a birthday in there last week. Would you like to voluntarily pay a birthday fine?
Yeah, I'll pay $1 a year. How about $20?
$20, nice. We'll take it. Sue, do you have anything before we go to happy finds? Nope, you're on mute.
Sorry, no, I don't have anything. Sorry.
Okay, let's go for happy finds.
Audrey?
Yes.
I just wanted to bring up, there was a football wager and football season is over for most people. And there are a number of people who made an agreement to contribute to the Rotary Foundation based on the football results. And I didn't get their payments, so I don't know how you want to handle that.
Oh, I think, they're already late?
Well, we know that Russ Reams can come up with his number now.
65.
Oh, I would say.
Yeah, but that was a dig at the fact that you lost.
I would say if they don't pay by the end of the month, then they're going to have to pay a $2 fine. But Bill, you'll have to tell me who those people are so we can turn it into Jim.
Bill, I'll send you the amounts and the names and the amounts.
There we go. Any happy finds?
You already sent them to me. I have them.
Bert's happy.
Hi. Well, it's birthday time again. Ooh. And some of you have heard of the Laird Smith Scholarship. Well, my late husband will have a birthday tomorrow. So I can't send flowers. So let's send money to the Laird Smith Scholarship Fund. So I'll donate $100 to the fund.
Nice.
If it goes to the charitable fund, which I send to Tommy, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Write it
Anybody
down.
else happy?
I just have a question of Bill Wagner. Can I go ahead and do a direct deposit of the $60 I owe and then tell you so?
Another member did that, Dennis, and he just sent me the email confirming the deposit had been made at the Rotary Foundation.
Mary's happy.
let's see, on the 20th, on Wednesday, if Robert had been alive, we would have celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. And I'm going to give $100 to the Rotary Foundation.
Nice. Thank you, Mary, for your generosity always. Anybody, Mike?
Audrey, even though you missed my birthday, it's actually Monday, the 25th, and I'll give my normal $100 to the foundation.
Oh, thank you. Would you like us to sing again?
No, thank you.
Okay, happy birthday, Mike. Sorry about that. Anybody else? Joni?
Yes, after several hours of loading and reloading online with Kaiser, I finally got my first appointment for my COVID vaccine today.
Oh, wow. I heard that is quite the wait on hold.
Yeah, and so did my daughter. So I'll give $20 for that.
Yay, thank you. All right, I think that's it, Mr. President.
Audrey, I have one other announcement somewhat related to this. I was visiting Tom Cicchini yesterday, and he's taking over for the district, the Polio Plus chair, and he's going to do a virtual auction coming up here sometime soon. One of the items he has to auction off is a book written by Paul Harris and autographed by Paul Harris. Quite the amazing auction item. So save your pennies. That would be a priceless item to pick up. All for Polio Plus.
Take it away, Mr. President.
Okay, you've got to auction it off.
That's right. Who would like this lovely job? Don't all jump at once. And it does help to have two people, by the way, while we're doing it on Zoom to keep track of fines, just as a suggestion.
Yeah, it was easier with two, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I got $5 for Don Morris, since he's not doing anything anyway.
I got $20 for Rob.
Oh.
What's that for, Jonathan?
And just for that, I'll add $5 to Jonathan's.
I'll add $5 to Don's.
Oh,
Somebody help me out with Don here, would you?
Bert will add $5 to our dear esteemed vocational speaker.
I'll add 5 to Don.
Well, this means Don gets the gig, right?
And Rob has to take notes.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
I could do that.
Okay, there you go. Looks like Don wins with his secretary, Rob.
Okay, I'll let Cindy know since she's up next.
All right. Okay, everybody, watch it. Yeah, next week. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. That was great. We finally got this thing down to where we can actually make a little bit of money when we're doing our prospecting. Okay, finally, it's time for our program. Russ, would you like to reintroduce our speaker, please?
I will do that. Our speaker today is Bruce Hester, and Bruce has an interesting background. He spent 5.5 years in the Air Force as an officer during the Vietnam War, lucky him. But then after that, he followed his father's footsteps. He became a commercial real estate person. And talk about his accomplishments. He specialized in apartments as an owner, a broker, and a manager, which has got to be the toughest thing in the world, I would think. But he's been the president of the Sacramento Apartment Association, board member of the California Apartment Association, president of Association of Commercial Real Estate, 5-time nominee for Apartment Broker of the Year in Sacramento, member of the National Speakers Association. And to me, one of the most important is he's also a very long-time Rotarian. He did retire after 40 years, and I don't know how much of it was before and how much after retirement, but he did something that's quite impressive to me. My goal for years has been to visit all 50 states. Well, he and his lovely wife have visited over 200 countries. That's quite an accomplishment, I would think. Oh, that's the goal. I'm sorry. That's his goal, is to visit them, but he's well over halfway. That's still, he's done well over 100 countries. That's a lot. And today he's going to talk about two of his personal interests, history and science. And basically he's going to be talking about a discovery or invention that changed our lives. Bruce Hester.
Thank you, Russ. Appreciate it. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, probably I'm going to go to just speaker's view here. And I guess I go to share screen. I have a PowerPoint. Let me see if I can get that up by going to share screen. I need to have Robert, I think you have to share the screen with me.
Bruce, I just made you co-host, so you should have access now. Let me know if you still can't.
Okay, let's see here. Let me try it again. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. Everybody see the screen? Yes? Okay. Well, thank you, Russ. I appreciate it. It's been probably a few years since I gave a speech here at Orangevale Rotary Club. This is one of my hobbies in retirement, and I like to talk about things that interest me. And doing speeches for Rotary clubs, I'm able to do that. So I love history and I love science, and I'm going to mix a little bit of travel in this speech. And I hope you learned a bit. It was fun to put together, and let's hope that you walk away with being a little smarter than you were when you arrived this morning. So you'll see this, sometimes you'll see this screen, a little bit of housekeeping, as being blank, because normally what I do, I'm not necessarily talking what's on the screen. And so if that's the case, I'll turn the screen black, so you don't have to be thinking, now, why is he talking about this picture when he's really not talking about this picture? So anyhow, today I'm going to talk about a discovery which in turn has led to multiple inventions that we use every single day in our life. And it's kind of fun to watch the other side of the story, kind of like the Paul Harvey, the backside of the story, which I'm trying to tell today to make it more kind of significant what these inventions were and how they affect our lives. But I want to start off by talking about a fellow by the name of Peter Diamandis. And Peter Diamandis is one of my heroes. He's a modern day serial entrepreneur who has started many companies in healthcare as well as in aerospace. But he's best known as the founder of a project called the X Prize Foundation, which is to further the study of science and mankind. And you probably heard of this first X Prize. It was a $10 million prize for the first individual or group that could take a spaceship into space and land it, and within 2 weeks, fly it again. So it was won in 2004 by two people, a fellow by the name of Bert Bouton, who's a world-renowned aeronautical engineer, and the co-owner and founder of Microsoft, Paul Allen. So they paid $20 million to win this $10 million prize. Luckily, I don't want them to do any investments for me because the math just doesn't work. But the interesting thing is that you can see the spaceship here, and there was actually two ships. The one on the top was the mothership, and the one down below, which is this one right here, is the one that actually went into space twice within 2 weeks or 14 days. Now, the important thing is not necessarily that, but about Peter Diamandis and how the fact that he's an eternal optimist, always has been, and believes that we're living in the best of times and that technology is the road to having a better life. He points out the fact that in the last 100 years, The world's age has doubled, more than doubled, from 31 years to over 80 years. That the cost of food has dropped tenfold. That infant mortality has dropped tenfold, and that literacy has gone from 25% to 80% worldwide. So today, and he also likes, one thing he likes to talk about is Moore's Law. I'm sure some of you have heard that. Moore's Law is used in the computer industry to the fact that every 12 to 18 months, the memory for microchips doubles. And so it's kind of like, it's not an arithmetic change, it's an exponential change. And arithmetic change is if, for example, you want to take a walk, you take a step, that's 3 feet, take 2 steps, that's 2 yards, 3 yards. And by the time you've taken 30 steps, you've gone 30 yards. But if you do it exponentially, everything doubles. So the first time it's 1 yard, then it's 2 yards, then it's 4 yards, then it's 8 yards, and it's 16 yards. And by the time you've taken 30 steps, you walked around the world 2.5 times. So exponential is how we progressed in our science, and things don't just necessarily go in a straight line, they go in a curved line upwards. So today, I'm going to talk about a discovery and just 8 items or inventions that were made from this discovery. There's hundreds and thousands of those inventions, but I thought I'd talk about just 8 of those. And our story starts 26,000 years ago, somewhere in the Sahara Desert, in a place that we now know as Libya, where a meteorite struck the ground and hit the ground at a temperature of over 1,000 degrees, instantly transforming the silicon dioxide sand into a congealed material that we now know as glass. Now, about 21,000 years ago, a Bedouin came along and noticed this smooth amber opaque material that he picked up in his palm of his hand and said, maybe I can find a market for this. And as the Bedouin caravan went west to the city or the land of the pharaohs, he traded that item. And eventually he traded that item because nobody could produce it because they couldn't produce the temperatures with their kilns to make it the temperature. So it was an unusual item and very valuable. Well, in 1922, an archaeologist by the name of Howard Carter, working on ancient tombs in the Valley of the Kings, literally stumbled across a tomb that was, to find out, was actually King Tut. And this bust behind me is a picture, or is a bust of King Tut that I picked up in Egypt a few years ago. Now, the interesting thing is when they found King Tut, they found an amulet that was around his neck. And on that amulet was a piece of glass. This scarab beetle, which is in the middle, was that piece of glass that was created 26,000 years ago, that the Egyptians didn't have the technology to make it, so they knew it was valuable, and so it was buried in King Tut's tomb. And you can now see this at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, in King Tut's exhibits. So pushing forward a bit to the Roman Empire, which in 300 BC had advanced to the point that they were able to have furnaces hot enough to smelt iron and bronze. And the technology was also good enough that they could make glass. And so glass making became a very lucrative occupation where people could make jars and drinking glasses and plates out of this amber material. And it was in high demand among the elite in Rome. And during the Dark Ages, the church was the prime customer for the use of glass, primarily in colored glasses, glass and windows that were being built for the Gothic churches that were being built all over Europe at that time. Now, a little later during the Dark Ages, a little later in the 1100s and 1200s, things started to change in Europe, and the European Christianity started to run in clashes with the Middle Eastern Islamic countries. And the Europeans had their crusades to free the Holy Lands, and Islam had the Moors, which conquered the Iberian Peninsula and made what is today modern day Spain. Now I have a chart here of these crusades, and you can see there's a lot of them. The one I'd like you to focus on is the Fourth Crusade in 1204 that went from Venice to Constantinople. And what happened is that the Christians who were trying to save the Jerusalem and the Holy Land congregated in a small town called Venice at the time, used their ships, and went to Constantinople. Now, these people were relatively poor, and Constantinople at the time was the last bastion of the old Roman Empire and probably the richest city in the world. Well, finding the fact that they were camped outside this rich city, even though it was a Christian city, they decided they were going to sack the city instead of worrying about going to Jerusalem. So they sacked the city and broke the walls and caused quite a havoc. And a lot of people had to leave the city. Unbeknown to some people, one small group that had been prearranged by the Venetians, who were always looking for economic gain, they corralled all of the artisans who were glass makers, who were very prosperous in Constantinople, put them on boats and took them back up the Adriatic to Venice. So they took them to Venice and they started a glass industry in Venice. And here's a picture of what modern, if you've been to Venice, this is what modern day Venice looks like today. And there was one problem with these glass makers, though, even though they were making a lot of money for the Venetians, was that the city at the time was made out of wood. It took until the 1300s before they started building these fantastic stone monuments. And it burned down half the city when some of these fires got away at these furnaces. So if you've ever been to Venice, the city fathers tried to figure out how they could keep the glass makers in business, but also protect the city. So they decided to move them to a small island in the lagoon called Murano Island. So they moved all of the glass makers to Murano. And today that island is still called the Isle of Glass. Now, something interesting happened when they did that. Now they had all of the glass makers and all the technology and all of the innovation in one location and created a critical mass on making glass. Now, you might think this isn't that interesting, although, it might be a little interesting, but what happened when they came to make a critical mass is where we see the exponential things start to happen with the lonely thing called glass. So the first thing that happened was they did a lot of experimenting with making glass, and a fellow by the name of Angelo Bouvier had added to his compound of glass just the right amount of potassium and the right amount of magnesium. And for the first time, something occurred that would change the world. Glass went from opaque to clear. It would look like a crystal rock, and it was named cristole. Later on, the translation into English was changed to something that every refined woman knows today, which is now crystal. Now that glass became clear, the properties became apparent to the Murano glass makers. And one of the abilities of glass was the ability to distort light and break up light into basic colors. This distortion led to the second epic exponential leap. A piece of glass that was flat on one side and convex on the other had the ability to magnify objects. And the monks used this cylinder cut in half and put it on a piece of paper in order to read some of the transcripts or manuscripts that they were making during that period of time. Now, also during that period of time in the 1400s, though, hardly anybody could read except monks and maybe a few elite Europeans. So they were the only ones that could actually use this invention because nobody else knew about it. And most of the priests, most of the priests who did read, the main population didn't read, and most of them were hyperoptic or farsighted, but it didn't make any difference to them because they couldn't read. But that was all about to change. In the 1440s, started the introduction in Europe of movable type and the Gutenberg press. Now books were affordable, everyone wanted an education, and the wonders of the world started to open up. As literacy rose, everyone who needed and wanted eyeglasses could become the first people to wear wearable technology of the Renaissance or eyeglasses. They were made to look like, the lenses were made to look like lentils, which were then in Latin called lentis, which then later were changed to in English to lenses. So it came from the word lentils from Latin is how we got the term lenses. So what happened is now we had people who could read, and the whole world started to change and they could see better because of the glasses. Now, the third exponential step to glass also occurred in Murano. They discovered that by combining glass with tin and mercury on one side, they can produce a self-reflecting mirror. For the first time, people could actually see their clear reflection of themselves instead of a reflection that they would see in the water. Initially, mirrors were very expensive and only the elite could afford them. So if you've ever been to Versailles, this is what King Louis XIV built, the Hall of Mirrors in Versailles, at an enormous expense. And he would sit down at the end of the hall and have emissaries from other countries such as Spain or England visit him, and they'd have to walk down this hall and they saw all this glass and they knew that their country wasn't as powerful or as wealthy as was the French, because the French had mirrors. Now, moving on in 1590, Hans and Zachariah Jensen were the ones who figured out how to have the right combination of lenses and focal lengths to invent something that we know as the microscope. So now we were able to see the unseeable, and it changed medicine forever. And a British fellow by the name of Robert Hooke, when he was using this microscope to look at various insects and parts of plants, looked at a cork and saw that the fact it looked like it had these pores looked like to him cells. So we call them cells. And that's now what we use as the term of the building block of life because of Robert Hooke back in the 1600s. And 19 years later, in 1609, from when they first invented the microscope, the Jensen brothers invented something else, the opposite direction. They invented the telescope. And here is Galileo in 1610 looking through a 10-power telescope at Jupiter. And this is the first time he could see Jupiter up close at 10 power. And he found that Jupiter had 4 moons. So these moons were revolving around Jupiter. And that started the end of what the Christian church at the time said, that the universe revolves around the earth. And because of that, he was declared a heretic by the church and spent most of the rest of his life in house arrest because of the fact he discovered something that was true, but went against the edicts of the church. Now, in the 1800s, the methodology for making long fiber glass and tensile strength was almost as strong as steel, but lightweight, in combination with carbon or fiber, was used to create what we call fiberglass, which we now use in the insulation and football helmets and any other myriad of things, including when I was a kid, my surfboard down in Southern California. Also, but fiber by combining glass with carbon, we can produce an ultra strong material called carbon fiber, which is now used to make airplanes. The wings and the fuselage of airplanes are actually made out of glass, and we've used them in for example, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner is almost completely made out of this carbon fiber. And then another thing that came along in the 1940s that uses glass was they discovered if they coat one side of glass with phosphorus and fire electrons at it, they create an image on the screen, which we today cannot do without: television. So thanks to that invention, in the 1940s, using glass, we have television. Now, another item that came up in 1970, Corning Glass developed an ultra clear glass, which used a laser as its information source, and it became known as fiber optics. And we cannot live without fiber optics because they run around the world and through the oceans and allow us to communicate with everyone around the world. So if you make a call or trying to have somebody fix your computer, you're probably talking to somebody in India, and India you can talk to that person through this fiber optics, and each of these strands here hold millions of conversations at one time because the ability to use coherent light with lasers allows that separation. But probably number 8, the last one we're going to talk about today, is not quite glass or silicon dioxide. It's actually pure silicon, and it has changed the world forever by making the silicon microchip. This is ubiquitous in everything that we use in our life, whether it's in a cell phone, hearing aids. There's over 1 million of these chips in every one of our cars, and it has truly changed our lives. Now, just briefly, these are just few of the items and a few of the things, some common thing that we don't even take much credence in or don't even pay much attention to, which is glass has changed our life completely. So today I talked about 8 things that were inventions: how to make clear glass, how to use the magnifying of glass, how to make mirrors. 4th thing is microscope. 5th is a telescope, then carbon fiber, then TV, and eventually microchips. And I want to say something that end with something that many people have said, including my buddy Peter Diamandis, and that is that I believe that we live in the best of times. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back to Robert.
Okay, get to the right screen here. Okay, thank you very much. Now I've changed computers so that I can. Everything will be normal now for me, at least. Everything will be normal now for me, at least. Oh, I'm hearing myself. Hang on. Oh, I'm hearing myself. Hang on.
We hear 2 of you.
And we see none of you.
Had to leave the other meeting. Anyway, so thanks very much. That was really interesting, and I enjoyed that very much. And I could actually hear it because I changed to a computer that works. Anyway, we're all applauding, whatever. Yeah, thanks again. It's always nice to have just a talk about something that's a little different than we we usually get. So let's see. I lost my train of thought now. Okay, so our next meeting is February 5th. Remember that? Next week. Go visit another meeting. Get online and find another club that you think might be interested in just see what the other clubs are doing. I want to thank Bruce again for coming. We really appreciate you being with us today. For parting thought, I didn't try. I was just looking through quotes by various people, and this one just kind of made me laugh. So this is what it is this week. It's Winston Churchill. He had all kinds of famous quotes, but I'd never heard this one before. He said, "I'm fond of pigs. Dogs look up to us. Cats look down on us. Pigs treat us as equals." So everybody go have a ham sandwich for lunch, and we'll see you on this screen probably at least in 2 weeks, if not at the food bank next Friday. And thanks to everybody for coming. So
Thanks,
we're done,
Bob.
Jonathan.
Thank you. Thanks to our speaker.
Yeah.